Everyone, this is CasNCourt TV. This is your girl, Miss Public Info, your personal public information officer, giving you the latest and greatest on all the high-profile cases going on around the country today. Now, you might notice that CasNCourt TV, Miss Public Info, has a little bit of an amended look here. Ha ha ha! Yeah. Well, it's temporary. I am just trying out a new style to see how, it goes. If you ever want to see yourself to see how, like, short hair goes, you should definitely try a little bit of a temp style to see how you do before you fully commit. Because, baby, if you cut that hair, it's going to take a while for it to grow back. Now, I have had the Halle Berry shortcut, the T-Boss L haircut, which is what this is kind of more of. Before, when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, I sort of did that sort of thing all the time. It was like my thing, especially with the blonde hair look sort of thing going on. And I've loved it. But as you get older, your facial structure changes, your weight changes, and just everything changes. So you have to, like, do a temp check to see if it's going to work out like it did maybe some time ago. Because I'm going to tell you something. The way things looked 20 years ago don't quite look the same 20 years later. So we have to do that. We got to keep it real. Okay? All right, guys. Well, today we are going to talk about this Kendrick Lamar, UMG rather, a lawsuit stemming from the Kendrick Lamar rap beef that happened last year. Now, you guys all know the story. I probably don't have to go through a reverb, but I'll give you the quick and dirty of it. Kendrick Lamar, Drake got into it. They had a back and forth of a rap battle that went on what seems to be 1 month. I mean, it went on forever. And finally, Kendrick Lamar came out with Not Like Us. I always want to say it incorrectly. Uh, just Not Like Us. And it became the song of the summer, particularly here in Los Angeles. Now, I like both artists. Both of them are really great artists. I respect both of them. I've worked with Drake before when he received his award at the Billboard Music Awards. I was working for the parent company of the award show, which is Dick Clark Productions. So I was handling the press room. He was really great to work with, very easy peasy. His mother, his son, his dad, and the whole family and the entourage and the thing. Everything, everybody was there, and he was just really great and easy to work with. I think he's a nice guy, whatever. Kenny, I haven't worked with. I haven't gotten a chance to work with Kenny. We're both from Los Angeles. He's from Compton. I'm from the city of Los Angeles, and I really do respect Kenny. I love Kenny. I think he's all about the neighborhood. I think he's all about the community. I love him as an artist, and his style and everything. I think I'm very proud of him as being somebody who is from California, from LA, and not many of us get that a global shine that Kenny has gotten, and he definitely deserved it. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I want to preference everything that I'm saying with the fact that these are really two great artists in the hip hop community. They're really great in their own, and they're different. They're different artists in their own ways, right? These are just guys who had a rap beef. Now, a lot of people have had rap beefs over the years. Everybody remembers the Nas and Jay-Z rap beef that happened 100,000 years ago. I mean, it seems like it was 100,000 years ago, but it was a long time ago. Okay, everybody remembers that. It's all up in the air who you think won. Okay, I have my own. Okay, man, I was just kidding. Anyway, yeah, like, these rap beats, it's a part of the industry. It's a part of, this thing, right? So why is Drake suing Universal Music Group? Well, the two guys are label mates, okay? And Drake feels like Universal Music Group valued profits over his own personal safety. Now, before I go into the details of that, I just want to say, isn't that the music industry? It seems like that's sort of how the music industry is. They value profits over everyone's safety, for that matter, right? But what Drake is saying is that the Just Not Like Us song caused his brand and caused him personally financial harm. He's saying it also cost him safety. Now, there was a shooting at Drake's home where a random person came by. I don't know all the details, but came by, and his security had to do their job, and someone got hurt physically because of it. And I think this was after the Just Not Like Us record came out and became a global smash hit. Now, he's saying because of that record, that brought uh uh it brought a lot of issues with his home. It brought a lot of a danger to his home, where his son is, where he is, where I'm sure a lot of his family spends time there. So he's saying, you guys didn't check this. Now, them being label mates, let's talk about that. Now, Kendrick Lamar's his lyrics, Drake is saying his lyrics on Just Not Like Us caused him financial harm, and it was defamatory. Now, the part that he's really talking about is the certified lover boy, certified pedophile part. That's the part everybody likes, besides a minor, of course. So he's saying this is more than a hyperbole, meaning more than just like some, metaphor. You are literally calling me a pedophile. You have no proof to back this up with. You told people I was a pedophile. This hurt my brand. This hurt me financially. That's what he's saying. Now, to also add to that, he's also saying, so Drake is claiming that UMG, is having the back of another artist on the label who is causing all kinds of harm to him, and that UMG is in the driver's seat here, because according to Drake, you guys got behind him on this record. This was a rap beef record. It did not come from an album. You guys got behind him, and because this song did so well, you wanted it to go global. And he's accusing the record label of actually buying bots to increase the streaming numbers for the record so that it could make more money and be the number one streamed song on Spotify or whatever it is. So he said that the label knew that the lyrics in Just Not Like Us promoted it, and that they knew that it had the defamatory language in it, and that it contained false information in it as well. And yet they still got behind the record, and they still went forward with it. And so here's UMG's take on this. UMG's take on this is like, boy, if you don't get out of here, this is a rap battle that you willingly participated in. You know how these things go. Listen, if you didn't want to participate in a rap battle, you shouldn't have been going back and forth with Kenny on the wax. That's what they said. They said, listen, this is how it is. You lost, and this is sour grapes, is how UMG responded to the lawsuit. They go on to say that Drake is attempting to, end quote, solve his wounds. And essentially, in other words, he's just trying to lick his wounds. He's trying to basically get people on his side, because the fact of the matter is that he lost the battle. He lost the rap battle. Whoever heard their thinking, their saying, in their legalese language, whoever heard of a rapper suing over a rap battle? And Drake is saying, well, me. That's how he's replying, okay? So, now, here are some of the contentions of the lawsuit, and we can go forward further with this if people have questions. And before we go on, don't forget to subscribe and like to my channel. Don't forget to make comments. I love to engage with you guys. I may do a live on this one just so we all can have a fruitful conversation, because this is very much a debate topic, particularly in the hip-hop community, because rap battles have been happening for so long. And I don't think I've ever heard of a rap battle actually going to court. So, Drake is really trying to set precedence here, and I'm not mad at the brother. He's got to do what he's got to do. I'm also not mad at Kenny, because Kenny is handling his business, and somebody came in his front yard with some beef, and he said, I'm answering. And that's exactly how it went down. And he is the proud son of not only the city of Compton, but the county and city of Los Angeles for a reason. We love him here because he is real. Okay, and this is just very on brand for Kenny to answer in the way that he did. Very much so. Now, the interpretations, here are the things that they're going to talk about in this lawsuit that are being talked about and argued. And there was a hearing last week, and we'll talk about that in a minute, in this lawsuit. So, contention number one is whether or not the lyrics were hyperbole or actually literal. Are these lyrics sort of being said in a way that are being taken as a hyperbole, meaning a metaphor, or sort of, a play on words, as most rappers do? A play on words is not an uncommon tactic that rappers use in songs. It's a poetic alliteration or something like that, right? That happens all the time. Or is this situation where Kenny was being literal, and was he being literal and didn't have any proof? Was he really saying that Drake is a pedophile? Was he really saying, that you know, that he, is untalented? Was he really, in these? I think some of the lyrics, he's basically really taking a jab at him on a lot of things. But the biggest one of them all is that pedophile part. And so, is it really about that? Do you have proof? You're saying I mess around with underage girls. Where's the proof? I mean, this is a serious accusation because R. Kelly is doing 55 years in prison right now, in Fed prison, in part for messing around with underage girls. Okay, so let's be clear on that. So Drake is saying, hey, hold up. So that's one point of the contention. The second one of the contention is whether or not UMG was aware that the song contained defamatory lyrics and then proceeded to promote the song anyway. Okay, and if so, then does that give Drake a legal leg to stand on? And that's essentially what is being discovered here, right? And then the third part is the potential for the lawsuit to expose the consequences of UMG's actions in prioritizing, so allegedly, prioritizing profits over safety of their artists. Now, right now, the case is in the early stages. Last week they had a hearing. UMG did formally answer to Drake's lawsuit, I think back in March, and they requested a dismissal of the lawsuit, saying that it was frivolous, in part saying that this is just him licking his own wounds, that this is also just ridiculous because Drake willingly participated in this rap beef. So basically, however it resulted is on him. So they went to court on last week, right there in the Southern District of New York, where the Diddy trial was going on, and both sides, both Drake's attorney and UMG's attorney was there, and they kind of went at it. It was an argument about, whether or not, like, hey, did you guys know this is a serious issue here? UMG kind of hands off of him and said, this is between two artists. This is artistic creative expression. I mean, where do we draw the line here? And in the end, the judge says, hey, we've got enough to go forward with the legal proceedings. So the case was not dismissed. And what can happen? Well, what can happen now is that the two sides decide to actually settle, that they settle quietly, and they can do that at any time prior to trial. Okay, kind of just like in the criminal world, criminal cases where people can plea out if the prosecution is willing to play ball. They can plea out anytime prior to trial. So it's kind of like that, right? So we're gonna just have to keep an eye on this one. I want to hear your thoughts on this. I want to know what you guys think about the whole Drake UMG legal kerfuffle here, and I also want to hear what you think about the rap beef and, like, who do you think won? Did is just not like us a song that is too below the belt? What do we think about these rap battles? Has Drake taken it too far as it relates to taking a rap battle to court? I will say this was the first time I've ever heard of a rap battle going to court. I mean, the years that I spent listening to Pac talk about other artists and his songs, you know what I mean? Biggie as well. I mean, because Who Shot Ya is the one, right? And like, it's just like, I mean, we know how those particular two situations ended up outside of, the whole rap beef. And I think that's in part, that's a good point, actually, now that I'm speaking, because I think that's in part Drake's whole point with this is that, this could potentially be a very unsafe outcome for me. And you all are sort of utilizing this as just another rap beef. I was listening to not strangely, but just like, randomly. I was listening or watching an interview that the Breakfast Club did with I think it is Lucien Grange, who obviously is the head honcho over at Universal Music Group. And I was looking at an interview that the Breakfast Club did, and he was talking about, it was a conversation that was being had between Charlemagne, DJ Envy, and Lucian about DMX at the time. And it was sort of about how, actually, no, I think it was, oh, it's the other guy with the L name. Is it the Cohen guy? I think it was yeah, it's Lear. I can't say his name correctly, but Lear Cohen is the person, not Lucian. Lear Cohen, who was the one that was actually the one that he was having the conversation with, because he basically ran Def Jam, okay, which was DMX's, at one point, his label. And so anyway, that doesn't matter. But it was Liar Cohen. I think that's how you say his name. But anyway, forgive me for mispronouncing. But he was having a conversation with the Breakfast Club. And one of the things that came up in this conversation was about the fact that, DMX, he used a lot of drugs, although a prolific artist and extremely intelligent and his legacy will go on and on and on. Into hip hop rap history. But I think Charlemagne was talking about, like, the fact that he obviously had a drug problem. He was an addict. And one of the things that came up with this was about the fact that, like, did, Liar Cohen and Def Jam themselves, did they sort of, value DMX's ability to bring in money over DMX's substance abuse problem? And one of the answers that came from Liar was like, what, or Lawyer, was, well, yeah, we knew he had a problem, and it was terrible what he did. And but at the same time, the really good thing that it did is that it brought attention to the issue. And so I bring this up because this isn't the first time that this is sort of come up with record label executives, with people taking or prioritizing a money over a performer's or artist's safety, or a performer's or artist's health. And so I'm saying that to say that Drake shouldn't be all that surprised by what's actually going on at UMG, because of the fact that this is something that pretty much all record labels do. They all prioritize profit over the health and welfare of their artists. That's the reason why there are a lot of artists who end up in trouble, who end up addicts, who end up, a great example is Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was the greatest. He was probably the greatest performer that ever, lived to perform and to embody the greatness that he was. But he also was a drug addict, and it was something that everyone knew, and it's something that Sony Music Group knew, but they still prioritized profit over his health, much like DMX, and much like Drake is claiming, prioritizing profit over his safety. So this isn't really a new phenomenon. How this lawsuit is going to end up, no one knows, but I definitely want to hear you guys' opinion about it in the comments. I definitely want you to subscribe and like so we can continue the conversation. And, I'm just anxious to see how this all ends. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me, and I'll see you next time. This has been CasNCourt TV with your girl, Miss Public Info. We're adjourned for the day.